This is the Synthetic Signal Report for Tuesday, April 7th, 2026 in the morning. Today's analysis examines the record-breaking wind and solar performance that saved the United Kingdom £1 billion in gas imports and a technical breakthrough in hybrid attention mechanisms that increases inference speeds 50-fold. We look at the unmasking of the Revil ransomware leader, Daniil Maksimovich Shchukin, by German authorities and a new physical framework for large language model governability centered on a 57-token predictive window. This report also covers the integration of blocks into Blobs for the Ethereum network, Gilead's $3 billion acquisition of the cancer biotech Tubulis, and the development of over-the-air computation using radio interference. Finally, we analyze the critical deadline set by the United States regarding the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and the escalating threats toward Iran. The United Kingdom has achieved a significant milestone in energy security, with record wind and solar generation saving the country £1 billion in gas imports during March 2026. This displacement of fossil fuels is a direct result of increased capacity and favorable weather conditions throughout the month. The performance of these renewable assets reduced the reliance on international gas markets, providing a measurable buffer against price volatility. This development highlights the how of infrastructure resilience. By integrating high-density wind and solar arrays into the national grid, the United Kingdom effectively decoupled a portion of its heating and power costs from global supply chains. This is a grounded, physical shift in how sovereign states manage energy resources during periods of geopolitical instability. The financial savings are being viewed by analysts as proof of the economic viability of large-scale renewable integration, even before accounting for environmental targets. A major technical advancement has emerged in the design of transformer architectures through the introduction of hybrid attention. Developers forked the internals of PyTorch and Triton to implement a layered attention structure. The system uses a linear first layer, a quadratic middle layer, and a linear final layer. In early testing, this specific configuration demonstrated a massive increase in inference speed. Standard full attention models operated at 5.6 tokens per second. The hybrid attention model achieved 286.6 tokens per second. This improvement comes with a minimal hit to perplexity, meaning the model remains highly accurate despite the change in how it processes data. This is a significant update to previous scaling laws, suggesting that the quadratic bottleneck of traditional transformers can be bypassed by strategically mixing linear and quadratic layers. For practitioners, this means high-performance inference is becoming possible on hardware that was previously considered insufficient. German authorities have officially doxed the individual known by the handle unknown, identified as the 31-year-old Russian national Daniil Maksimovich Shchukin. Investigation reveals that Shchukin headed both the GandCrab and Revil cybercrime organizations. These groups are responsible for at least 130 documented acts of computer sabotage and high-stakes extortion. The unmasking is the result of a multi-year coordination between international law enforcement agencies. Shchukin's leadership of Revil saw the group pioneer the ransomware as a service model, which allowed them to scale attacks globally. This development provides a face and a name to one of the most elusive figures in the history of cybercrime. While Shchukin remains in Russia, the public identification limits his ability to move assets and operate across international borders. It also serves as a technical case study in how law enforcement can trace anonymous handles back to physical identities through digital forensics. This is a signal from the future. A new research paper has introduced an energy-based governance framework for large language models. The research identifies a specific 57-token predictive window that acts as a physical limit for inference layer governability. This is an under-the-radar development because it suggests that current behavioral monitoring and post-training alignment provide no detectable pre-commitment signal. Instead, the researchers propose connecting transformer dynamics to constraint satisfaction models. By measuring the structural rigidity of the inference layers, developers can potentially predict model behavior before a response is generated. Another signal from the future is the release of Superlocal Memory version 3.3. This system introduces biologically inspired forgetting and multi-channel retrieval for agentic systems that do not rely on large language models for core memory operations. Current agents often possess vast knowledge, but cannot remember context from an hour ago. Superlocal memory addresses this by using cognitive quantization to manage how information is stored and eventually discarded, mimicking human memory patterns to increase efficiency in local, edge-based systems. The Ethereum research community has introduced a new architecture called Block in Blobs, or BIB. This design takes transactions in the RLP format and encodes them directly as a blob, similar to Type 3 transactions. This is a strategic move for the zkVM world, as it reduces the bandwidth requirements for validators. Under this framework, not every participant in the network is required to download every transaction. By utilizing blobs for transaction storage, Ethereum can scale its data availability without overloading the nodes. This is a foundational shift in how the state of the blockchain is maintained, prioritizing privacy and throughput for decentralized applications. It moves Ethereum closer to a state where large-scale financial operations can occur with lower overhead and increased sovereignty for individual users. The community is currently monitoring a critical deadline set for 8 p.m. tonight regarding the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump has issued a severe warning that a whole civilization could die if negotiations with Iran do not result in a deal to reopen the waterway. This follows the strategic relocation of 1,500 sailors and families from the Navy base in Bahrain back to Virginia. In security chatter, the Medusa ransomware group has been observed completing full attack cycles in under 24 hours. They are moving from zero-day exploitation to data encryption with extreme speed, significantly shrinking the defensive window for security teams. We are also tracking several significant breaches and settlements. HIMS and HERS has reported a data breach through a support platform that exposed customer information. In the hardware space, Broadcom has disclosed a deal to supply Anthropic with 3.5 gigawatts of Google TPU capacity starting in 2027. Additionally, John Deere has settled a major right-to-repair lawsuit, establishing a $99 million fund for farmers and committing to better repair access. Finally, security researchers have identified a series of memory safety and boundary bugs in the latest updates for Firefox and Thunderbird. Users are advised to move to the newest versions to mitigate potential memory corruption. A new GPU rowhammer attack, known as GPU breach, has also been demonstrated, allowing for root shell access on compromised systems. This concludes the synthetic signal report for Tuesday.